Hey guys, I am happy to be here with you today. I just wanted to let you know that there is no new material today. We're just going to do a little practicing. And so I thought I'd just make a very short video to kind of review what we're going to be looking at today. So today, I want us to remember that we have talked about the three different methods for solving quadratics. We've talked about the factoring method. We've talked about the square root method. And we've talked about the quadratic formula. Anyone singing that quadratic formula song in your head right now? So today what we're going to be looking at is which method is the best method to use because really in math there's so many different ways we can do these problems. So which is best? And the answer there is all determined by what kind of problem we see. So first thing, factoring. Factoring is a quick approach. It's normally very quick to do. However, there are some drawbacks to factoring because if we don't have, if the problem's not factorable, then factoring is not a good method to use. So, a couple of key points that I remember with factoring. First of all, I normally do factoring only if they are small numbers. Because if it's going to take me a long time to figure out what the factors are and if the factors work, then I'm wasting some time. Okay, the second thing about factoring is I only use factoring if there's no leading coefficient. Now, we can use factoring even if there is a leading coefficient. We can use the AC method. It just takes time. And if I'm going to spend the time doing that with factoring, I'm probably just going to choose one of the other methods because it's a little bit quicker. All right, moving on to square root method. The pros to the square root method is it is super quick. But the cons are it can only be used sometimes. It can only be used if the quadratic has no b term. Remember, it just has to have the ax squared and the plus or minus c. We can't have that b term if we're going to use the square root method. And then finally, the quadratic formula. The pro to the quadratic formula is it always works. And so if you were going to say, I'm only going to learn one method, quadratic formula would be the one you want to use. The con to quadratic formula is it's a little bit longer. It takes a little bit more time to use. But I would always use quadratic formula anytime I have a leading coefficient. If a leading coefficient is present, I just find that I'm probably spending less time using the quadratic formula than I am trying to figure out if it can be factored as we go. All right, so let's look at three problems and just decide where they would go. So problem A, if it said 5x cubed minus 3x plus 7 is equal to 0, I would look at that and I would say, okay, all three terms, oops, I said squared, but I wrote cubed. All of those terms are there. I've got an A, a B, and a C, so that takes out the square root option. And then because I have a leading coefficient, I'm probably going to use quadratic formula with this first one. If I saw a problem like B, x squared minus 5x minus 6 is equal to 0, I first noticed all three terms are present, so square root is out. However, I don't have a leading coefficient, and so this is one that actually could be factoring or quadratic formula. But because the numbers are pretty small, I'm going to at least attempt factoring really quick. 6, I could break into 1 and 6 or 2 and 3. Because it's a negative 6, I know I want something negative, and then I'm looking for a pair that adds up to give me negative 5. Well, I find a pair that gives me positive 5, so I would just change the signs. I do have a pair, so I could do this one very quickly using factoring. Not wrong if you said quadratic formula, but it could be done using factoring. All right, finally, answer problem C. If I had 2x squared minus 288 is equal to 0, If I look at that, I notice I only have the a and the c term. Therefore, the quickest is going to be using the square root approach. However, I absolutely could do this using quadratic formula or possibly even factoring. Guys, I hope that helps. Today you're going to go through 10 problems and just choose which method you think is best for each one of them. Again, there's not always just one right answer, so just choose the methods you think is best. Then I'm going to ask you to choose 3 problems. One that you said factoring method is best, one that you said square root method would be best, and one that you said quadratic formula is best. And I'd like you to actually work those 3 problems showing me your work on a piece of paper. Then snap a quick picture of that, upload that to Google Classroom, and you will be done for today. So pretty short lesson today, but give those 3 methods a try. I hope you're having a great day, and I will talk to you later. Bye, guys.